I would have said TikTok, but I'm not sure how TikTok is going to be faring soon here. But I would go to Instagram. I would create a specific niche for myself where I could add a massive amount of value, position myself as an authority, and grow a very specific following within that niche that I could add value to, where my products or services, whatever I was doing, fit into. And I would just create a massive amount of content on social media that was where I am positioning myself as an authority.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today. We got Melissa May. Hey, Melissa, are you ready to make it happen?
I am ready, Simon. Let's do it.
Melissa May worked in insurance sales as a retail executive and was climbing the corporate ladder before she got started in network marketing 8 years ago. Today, she's a multiple seven-figure earner and leads a team of over 62,000 people. She's also a podcast host, a co-author of the best-selling book, Social Impact, and is an Inner Circle Council member for her company. Melissa lives outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and is a mom of 3 kids. And when she's not working, she's either playing softball, going for a walk or run, or serving at her church. So welcome to MLM Nation, Melissa. I've given everyone a brief intro, but please take us back to your background. How did you go from corporate America, and who introduced you, and how did you get started in network marketing?
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Simon. You're amazing. I love what you're doing here. And my story with network marketing actually began when I was 18, but I didn't realize it. I was dating. This is back in the day before social media. And my boyfriend at the time was invited to McDonald's for one of those flip chart presentations. It was back in the day. Someone was trying to recruit him for a long distance phone service company, right? And so I've had this vision of this industry and this interest in this industry since I was 18. And my boyfriend at the time had said no, but I said yes, even though I was still in high school. I said, I want to try this. However, I was in high school. I was being told, go to college, get a degree, climb the corporate ladder, retire. This is the secret. This is what you should be doing, right? This is how to live the best life possible, is to go to college, get a job and whatnot. And so I did that. I went and got a 4-year bachelor's degree in business management and marketing from Penn State. I started climbing the corporate ladder. And then fast forward 10 years, I had twins. And I quickly realized that that was not the life that I wanted. I didn't want to be working 40 to 60 hours a week, missing all of the firsts with my babies. I didn't want someone else witnessing my daughter crawl for the first time. I didn't want to have to miss the school plays or the school parties or the parades or the sporting events because I was committed to a career. And so it was almost immediate. As soon as I had my twins, I had this burning desire, like, I need something more. I need something different. I need to find something that's going to allow me to create an income, because I didn't want to lose my income. I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom who wasn't bringing in and contributing to my home, because I liked having, I liked being able to have flexibility in my finances. And so I didn't want to cut my income, but I wanted the flexibility in my time. And so back when I was 18, I had remembered network marketing. Yes, like this is something that I think I could do. This is something that I think could provide exactly what I'm looking for, an income while having that flexibility of time so that I could be with my babies. And I had dabbled a little bit prior to my current company in other companies but I was not successful. Like I saw what was possible in the industry. I saw what was possible for other people. I watched what other people were doing for quite a few years in the industry. I followed quite a few leaders in the industry. And then it wasn't until I had my twins, though, where I had that burning desire to become a 6, 7 figure earner, to become a leader, to create a career out of this industry. And I joined my current company when my twins were 3 months old. And it was the same week I went back to my full-time career in insurance sales, where I was in line to take my manager's job. And within 8 months, I was able to put in my 2 weeks. And I've been home full-time for the last 6 years now, which is so cool.
So who introduced you to the business? Did you actually seek out and found someone, or someone approached you and the timing was right?
Yeah, so my husband had convinced me to start something, which led me down the rabbit hole of researching online. And I stumbled across the girl on Instagram that I did not know. She just I found her via a hashtag, and I reached out to her because I was interested in this thing. And I said, if this product does what it says it does, because I was skeptical, but I said, if it actually does what they say it does, this is going to be something huge. I just had a gut feeling about it. So I tried the product from a complete stranger. And on day 3, I was all in, and I said yes to the business opportunity. And because I had been following people in the industry for a few years, observing what people, what it was, I kind of had an idea of the industry, but I had not had success in the industry until I joined and had that burning desire to actually make it something.
This person that you followed, what was the type of content that she
Yeah.
put out there that made you, hey, this is the person I want to join?
Yeah. So she came across like she had experience, right? So when I was looking to join someone, I was looking to join someone who could lead me, who was experiencing things that I wanted to experience, who could guide me, who was having some success and could show me the way, right? And so, but also I was very cautious I wanted to make sure she had time for me too, right? I wanted to make sure that she was still super excited and active and growing and in the trenches and fully involved in the business and what she was doing. But I loved the system she had in place. She plugged me into a video, and everything she did, I was very easily able to say, I could do this too. I could do what you're doing. This is how you're achieving success. I could do these things. And that was what was really attractive to me. She had experience. She could show me the ways, and what was working for her, she could teach me. And it was simple enough for me to actually do.
And that came across in her content on social media.
Yeah. Yeah. She wasn't doing anything crazy in her content. It was just this, and this is what I always tell everyone. And it's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. You can do all of the right actions, but if you don't have the right energy, the right certainty, the right belief behind the actions, you're not going to get the same results. And so it wasn't as much about what she was doing. It was how. It was the energy and certainty and excitement in which she was showing up. I just believed her, right? And I think that's so important. It's so important. And it was important for me, and that's what attracted me to her.
So once you got started, how did you do your first couple of weeks?
I did well. I had dabbled in other companies where I did not do well. So when I joined this company, it was a different experience for me because I had a different level of certainty and I had a different level of desire to make it work, to do something different. I was obsessed with it. I was really obsessed with the products, which made it really easy to tell everybody about it. And I had that level of certainty and that level of belief and that level of desire and that level of energy that people were able to feed off of. And I was really easily able to cast a vision of this is where I'm going. Like I was very clear on the vision that I had and that this was going to be the vehicle that retired me from corporate America. And I shared that often. And because I was so certain about the vision and obsessed with the product, my business blew up because it did happen pretty quickly where in my first year, I made a little less than 6 figures. And then in my second year, 6 figures. And I have not made less than 6 figures, multiple 6 figures in a year since.
You had dabbled in network marketing a few times and never made any money, but somehow you had the certainty and belief. A lot of people, loved a lot of listeners. They love the profession. They may have gone of a couple of different companies before, but in the mind, they don't have that certain belief because they feel like, oh, I failed before. I ran out of friends. No one trusts me before. I've never been successful. How did you get that self-talk? What advice could you give to that person?
When I think about my social media or how I show up, I'm not necessarily looking to change someone's mind who already has an opinion about me. So when I show up, I'm not even worried about what other people are going to think. I'm looking for the people who they have no idea who I am, who I can have a positive influence on. Right. And so when I'm even coaching my team and they're worried about, oh, my family or my friends, this isn't who I am. This is a different version of me. I say we're not creating our content for the people who already know us. We're creating it for the people who don't know us yet, who we have the ability to influence and have the ability to impact. And so luckily though, I will say that I was able to influence a lot of people that I knew because I was super authentic and genuine about it. And I didn't try to, when I started, because I was going through an infertility battle at the time before I started with this company and before I had the twins. And so I spent a lot of years on social media, not selling anything, not trying to do anything, but add value and share my experiences and show up really authentically. And so when I did join this company, I just continued to do that. And so I had built a lot of trust with people prior to joining the company. But when someone's brand new and they have not spent any time building influence or trust or anything with an audience, it takes time. And that is something that I would always coach someone on is that it takes time to build trust with people. It takes time to build, to get people to know, like, and trust you. And that when you can show up authentically and consistently enough and not worry about who already knows you and what they're thinking, because that's not who you're meant to serve. You're meant to go serve the person who just stumbles upon your content today, who does not know you, and you get to influence their immediate first impression of you. That's who you're creating the content for. And that's kind of how I view it. And that's how I was always able to not necessarily worry about the failures that I had before.
You had success pretty quickly. What was a major aha moment or a light bulb moment where you feel like things really started taking off for you?
The thing is, I knew it was going to happen. I just had this gut feeling. When God places a desire on your heart, you just say yes and you take the action, but you don't know the how. I couldn't actually physically figure out how it was all going to happen. But when you say yes and it's in alignment with God's will for you, things just start to happening. And I would have to ground myself daily and just say, okay, don't stress out about the how. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to take the actions that we know we have control over, and things are continuing to fall into place. And things did continue to fall into place. And it was happening at speeds that I could have never predicted. I had never experienced before. And it was really, really fun. But it was this aha moment when, you're reaching these goals and you're hitting these ranks or you're hitting these income goals. And it's almost like this unbelievable thing. And then you realize, oh, this is how it happens. It's the ripple effect of this high energy, this high level of certainty. And when you can cast that into other people, what can happen in your business is really incredible. I always stayed grounded in just doing the things that I never tried to go do anything crazy different than what I was doing in day one and on day one. And I always have tried to just stay grounded in the basics of what worked and what works, so that the growth continued without me having to feel like I had to become someone that I wasn't.
So when you say basics, what are some of the basics? So for people listening, like, what are basics?
Yeah, it's the showing up consistently on social media. It's the attracting the audience that you want to serve, that you envision yourself serving. It's connecting with them. It's sending the message. It's proactively reaching out to people, inviting them into your community, inviting them to watch a video or to plug into a resource or offering to serve them. I'm I'm huge about value and service. And so creating value and service where you're reaching out and actually serving someone with something that is actually going to help them, whether it's a challenge, whether it's a resource, something like that. And then it's just moving them through the process of, once you've attracted someone into you, once you've been able to connect with them in person, on the phone, on a Zoom, in Messenger, share value with them, actually get to know their needs and how, and figure out where you fit into how you can help them. And then it's a natural process of enrolling when they're ready and when they're ready to join. And I've never been someone who pushes people to the enrollment, because I found that if I truly have their best interest in mind when they're ready, and I've added enough value and I've created the relationship, they join, they say yes, they are interested and they want to know more. And so it's the basics of just showing up on social media. What do you do on social media every day to connect with people or to attract people? And then what are your connection, the connection tools, a message, a video, a free group, whatever that looks like for you. And then what does your follow-up look like to eventually build the relationship and enroll them when the time is right? So those are the 3 things I focus on.
That's awesome. Success is a journey. It's not a result, right? Like an event. It's also a long process. So looking back to your process, what would you say was one of the toughest times or the worst moment where you stayed and didn't quit and you learned valuable lessons, and that's why you are where you are today?
There were a couple times. So I'm someone who likes to be of service to other people. I love connecting with other people. One of my strengths is leadership, as far as just truly helping someone identify their own strengths. And then I have a really great ability to break down a complicated system into very easy steps that someone can take. And so that's a strength of mine. And there were opportunities for serving the larger community in our company, whether it was hosting calls or hosting trainings or doing leadership things. And I had that desire. I wanted to play at a bigger level. I wanted to contribute at a bigger level. And I was looked over many, many times. And I was like, man, I'm doing the things, I'm achieving the things. I know I've got it in me. And when you're looked over or passed up for an opportunity to lead, or an opportunity to be a presenter, or be an opportunity to be a trainer, it's very easy for someone to say, oh, well, I must not be good enough, or, they must not like me. And we can create all of these stories around our identity, right? But I've always known who I am, regardless of if other people see it or not. And so although those moments of rejection were really hard for me, I continued to stay grounded in who I am and know who I am, and say, you know what, that rejection it's not actually who I am. They just don't know me enough yet. What do I need to do? How do I show them how that I have something of value to offer the larger community? I can contribute at a bigger level. And so you seek feedback, you get better, you continue to show up, and know that in time, if you are who you truly believe you are, then they will see it when the time is right. And so a lot of people, though, will get rejected once, and they completely use that as a reason to quit, or they completely use that as a reason to move on. And for me, I've always been a person who, I know my worth, I know my value, I know what I bring to the table. And if someone's not seeing that yet, that's just an opportunity for me to build a better connection, seek feedback, to learn, to grow. Maybe I'm not presenting myself in a clear way. Maybe I'm not reaching out and sharing my ideas so that they actually know what I bring to the table, right? And so, but a lot of people use rejection as a reason to quit, to back off, to change companies, to change mentors, etc., instead of digging in and figuring out, how do I actually show them what I'm capable of? And so, that was something that I had to deal with. Rejection, not being, feeling like people didn't see my value that I knew I could bring to the table. And do I want to take that personal, or do I want to, do I actually know and believe I have this value to add? And what am I going to do about it? And I did. And here I am, 2 years later, I was invited into the inner circle council in our company, where I've since been able to impact thousands of people in our larger community for the better.
You had mentioned before that you took you 2 years to go full time, correct? Was it?
Yeah. So I was prior to the current company I was in, I was with, I was dabbling in another company. So I spent a lot of time just watching and observing what other people doing, but I was totally there just as I was an 80%er, right? I was there for the community. I was there for the free product or the discounted product, but I really wasn't there for massive amounts of income. But I spent 2 years observing what the top leaders were doing, observing what the people winning were doing, observing how they showed up, what their habits were, how they, what their actions were, who their mentors were. And so when the time was right for me and I joined my current company, then it was like an 8-month period where I was able to create the income that allowed me to leave my full-time career.
We all know consistency is very important, and obviously you're very consistent, but you also have 3 kids, and you have a house to take care of. What's your daily routine like, and how do you stay consistent?
Yeah, so I use Tracker. I love using a tracker. So last year, actually, I did a 365-day challenge to run 1 mile every single day in 2023, and I achieved that goal. And so through that process, I've created just the simplest tracker system for myself, right? It's nothing nothing crazy. It's just a bubble tracker where I write out the actions that I want to take every day, and then I fill it out. And then I use Post-it notes. I am a total Post-it note girl. So I will, in the beginning of every month, write down the actions that I want to take every single day of the month. And then as I take those actions, I pull the Post-it note down. And so I put those Post-it notes somewhere where I can see it every single day. And it's so simple, right? It's not the hardest thing, but that's how I stay consistent. It's a reward system for me. Is pulling the Post-it note off of the wall feels really, really good. And I love that I can have that visual representation of accomplishing something. And I focus on the actions that I'm taking, not necessarily the outcomes. Because if you stay consistently focused on the actions and the right actions, the outcomes happen, right? And so my morning routine, I wake up every morning at 5:30 in the morning. I read devotional. I read my Bible. I journal. I look at my goals and my vision board. I do that every single morning. And then by that time, I'm able to get the kids ready for school. When they go to school, that's when I'm able to do my daily methods of operation, my social media posts, my and follow-ups, my check-ins with my team, my check-ins with my clients, all of those things.
I like what you said about the tracker. So you ran 1 mile every day for 365 days. And I know you live in Pittsburgh. It can get cold and snowing. What do you do on those days? You still run in the snow, run in the rain?
I have a treadmill.
Okay.
And you want to know the funniest story? Simon is on day 365 on New Year's Eve. My treadmill broke and it was cold outside.
That's God's testing you.
He was testing me. God was testing me to say, how serious are you? You say you want something. What are you going to do about it? So I just went to the local gym and got on the treadmill and got it in. So, but it's awesome. It was the greatest lesson of my life. I'm like one of the greatest lessons of my life, because that one little challenge taught me how to do and create any habit, because it taught me how to focus on one thing at a time. It taught me on how to create the right type of focused action, right? I wasn't trying to do a 60-minute workout every day for a year. I said, let me just do 1 mile a day. If I could do 1 mile a day, that's 12 to 15 minutes at the most. If I'm walking and jogging, that's, it's so short of a time commitment. But if I can do that consistently, it will evolve. And what happened was that 1 mile turned into 60-minute workouts. It turned into lifting. It turned into a 40-pound weight loss. But I wasn't intending it to do that. But now I've been able to use that for my morning routine with reading the Bible. I've been able to use that with my social media, with, when I want to really do a run of live videos or a run of posting of reels or something like that, I take what I learned from that 1 mile a day challenge and I break my business activities down into small, okay, just get really good at this one thing for the next however many days until it's autopilot. And once you do that, then you can stack something else on top of it way easier than if you try to change everything all at once.
Because I'm sure during that year you went on vacations, company incentive trips. So how
Oh,
did you, I guess you just went to a hotel? I mean, the hotel
yes,
gym?
Simon, there were times where I was in the hotel gym at 10:30 at night after and it was fun. I had my team, I had team members coming to the gym with me to do the 1 mile at 10:30, 11 p.m. at night. I did it in the parking lot of a shopping center on the way to an event. I did it in the airport. I had 30 minutes of time to spare in the airport before I got on a flight. I was running up and down, in Pittsburgh, there's it's not a super busy airport. So I was able to do it in the airport. I just made it work, right? I
So
made it
you were
work.
jogging at the terminal at the airport.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's awesome. And then going back to what you said, right? You learn so much because when we stick to something simple, I'm sure you discover, people say it's never the lack of resources, it's your lack of resourcefulness.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's no excuses. You can run at 10:30 or you just run at the airport
Yes.
terminal. But you got to get your mile in. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. It's such a great lesson. It's simple, 1 mile a day, right? But the lessons that it taught me were incredible. It was one of the best things I ever did.
And then you realize at the end of the day, most of the reasons we give ourselves we can't, they're all excuses. Because you can always
All
find a way.
excuses. Literally, it's all excuses. There's no excuse for it. If I can do a 1 mile every day, why can't I do a live video? Why can't I do a reel? Why can't I do a post? Why can't I send 5 messages? There's just, it really makes you realize how much control you are in of the actions and the results that you're getting in your life.
So some people may think, well, I'll feel really weird running at the airport. People staring at me. What's your thinking behind that?
I'm not doing it for them, right? So honestly, I'm a believer. God, I was saved last year, in October. And as someone who, God is my father, he is the only person I am really trying to impress. I don't care what other people think of me. And that's one of my superpowers is just, I do care. I want people to feel good in my presence. I want people to feel seen and loved in my presence. But I am not afraid of being judged. I also know I'm not afraid of people creating stories that aren't true about me, right? It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and I think you have to develop that in order to be successful in anything. If you're worried about what people think, then it doesn't matter what you do. There's always going to be people that think crazy. There'll be people that think you're crazy running on New Year's Eve. It's a day off, right? Oh, why do you have to do the 365? It's bad for your body. This and that. There's always people that's not going to agree with you.
Always.
Hey, thank you so much. You've been super inspiring. As we go towards the end of the show, we ask you some couple quick questions to pick your brain, and these can be quick one-liners.
Sure.
What is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
So one of my favorite success quotes is Luke. It's Luke chapter 16:10, and it says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much." So as a leader and as someone who, has created a multiple 7-figure income, it's really important to steward what we've been blessed with appropriately, whether it's our role as a leader and how we lead our teams and how we ethically, respond to people and lead people and run our businesses, and with what we've been blessed with because of, if we can't be trusted to make small decisions wisely, we can't be trusted to make these incredibly big, large decisions that are required when we have really, really big teams.
What's one habit that's helped you become successful?
The 1 mile a day, the 1 mile a day challenge. That was the habit. It's the habit of exercising, the habit of moving my body every single day, because what that does for your mental health, what that does for your confidence, what that does for your certainty and how you show up, it's an incredible habit to have is moving your body every single day.
What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
I would say that so much great advice, but don't give up good for perfect, right? So many people they stop themselves before they ever get started because they're so worried about doing it perfectly and what people are going to think that they don't realize that it's the doing it just okay or doing it really bad and then letting the failure of that teach you how to get better. But people never let themselves fail. And so they can never get to good. They can never get to that mastery because they're not even allowing themselves to do it just good. Right. And so don't give up good for perfect has been something that I live by in my business. Because perfection will just slow you down.
What's your favorite prospecting tool? So say someone is interested. Do you give them samples? Do you do a one-on-one? Do you do Zoom? Do you face-to-face, group presentations, personal video, company video? What do you like?
I literally do every single one of those things.
Well, what's the first one you prefer?
One-on-one. I'm one-on-one. If I can get in person with someone on a Zoom or literally in person, like I don't have to do any selling. Like it's one-on-one is my favorite way to prospect people for sure.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media app?
My favorite app on my ChatGPT is ChatGPT is not social media, right? It's AI.
Yeah.
So oh my gosh. Listen, ChatGPT is the best thing that's happened to me.
Me too. I've been using it's like my personal assistant.
It really is. It's incredible.
What are 2 or 3 books you could recommend to ML Nation?
Oh, 2 or 3 books, just 2 or 3. Okay. The Magic of Thinking Big, Think and Grow Rich. And right now I'm listening to Outwitting the Devil, which is so good. So both by Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil are by Napoleon Hill. I read Think and Grow Rich this year. I'm listening to Outwitting the Devil right now. And like those 2 books, oh my gosh, they're incredible. And then Think and Grow Rich is awesome too.
You know, Outwitting the Devil, if you get the audiobook version, it's actually really good. Because he talks it like it's actually the devil, like a really
that's the one I'm listening to.
Yes, really good.
And then the Magic of Thinking Big, I love the Magic of Thinking Big because it helps us take the objections that we have in our lives and it just helps you wash them all away. Like it teaches you about the major objections that people have, whether it's age, whatever it is. And it helps you overcome the objections that are limiting you and stopping you from, achieving what you want in your life. So, yeah.
And here's the last question, the $1 million question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So, Melissa, imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one. You didn't know your family, didn't know your kids. You had a contact list of 0, but you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build a network marketing business from scratch?
I would probably go to Instagram, just because I would have said TikTok, but I'm not sure how TikTok is going to be faring soon here. But I would go to Instagram. I would create a specific niche for myself where I could add a massive amount of value, position myself as an authority, and grow a very specific following within that niche that I could add value to, where my products or services, whatever I was doing, fit into. And I would just create a massive amount of content on social media that was where I am positioning myself as an authority.
So teaching them stuff related to your products.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, any last words or advice? And then what's the best way our listeners can connect with you?
When you have a desire, so here's how I always I have to constantly remind myself when there's a desire placed within you, it's not for nothing, right? It is truly when you have the excitement, when something excites you, when you want to say yes to something, when you want to do something, when you have an idea and it's exciting to you, it's for a reason. God doesn't place desires on our hearts that aren't meant for us, right? I've never had the desire to be a nurse or a surgeon or a doctor or a truck driver, or I've not had the desires to do those things because those things aren't meant for me. So when I have a desire, I recognize this is meant for me. There's something here. God wants me to pursue these desires, right? And so don't I feel like people question themselves too much and they allow the opinions and the thoughts of other people. Don't share your dreams and your desires with too many people, because if they're not they don't have the same vision as you, they could squash it so quickly. And so keep those desires tight to your heart, and just remember that if someone tells you you can't achieve that, you can't do that, that's because they feel like that's not possible for them. Doesn't mean that it's not possible for you. And I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. It's Melissa May. I think Melissa L. May on TikTok, Melissa May on Instagram and Facebook.
MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you've been hanging out with Melissa May. So keep up the momentum and head over to MLMNation.com, click on the podcast tab and the show notes. We have a detailed summary of the show and also the links to Melissa's profiles will be there. Definitely go follow her on her social media. She gives tremendous amounts of value on her profiles. Hey, in order to be successful in life, in business, and in network marketing, you must help others. So Melissa, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again and God bless you.
Thank you, Simon.
Hey, MLM Nation, Simon Chan. Great show from Melissa May. Make sure you subscribe to this, leave us a review, and also follow Melissa. Go to MLMNation.com. We have expanded show notes there, detailed summaries, aha moments for you to take action on, and also, most important, links to Melissa. Definitely go follow her and see what she does. Because if you're struggling to meet people, social media is the easiest way. Right? And there's so many different ways, but the key is giving value, like the way Melissa shared. And if you're not sure, I just look at how she gives value every single day. Since I connected with her, I looked at her social media every day. She's going out there showing up every single day. And, success is about, I was reading this book. Success is not about the event, right? The event is like getting the rank advancement, hitting the check, right? Getting a $10,000 a month check. That's not success. Success is the process. The process creates the leader, right? The rank advancement and the checks, they don't create the leader. It's the process. And, if you're like, how did Melissa make it so quickly? She's, for many years, was a leader. She was like vulnerable, talking about her infertility, right? Sharing this on a podcast, but also before she had kids, it was a journey that she had to go through, sharing that. And so when you are sharing about you're trusting people. It's so much easier for people to trust you, right? So she was sharing this with her friends who were war market. So when she actually finally found something that was good, they also trusted her. So make sure you always create that trust on social media. Another big aha moment here is just habits, small little things, right? Like I love to verse is Luke 16:10. If you trust something with something small, you can trust them with something big, right? Start something small. Do it consistently. Right? I wrote in my book that if you can do something small, just go to the gym for 5 minutes a day. You may not get the best workout, but you do it every single day. It'll make you a better leader. Right? For her, it was like jogging a mile. Now, some of you running a mile is a lot. Some of you, like if you run marathons, a mile is nothing. But running a mile, like if you need help with consistency, I always thought start small. For her, it was starting small. She could run a mile anytime. But even in the most inconvenient days, like being at an airport, traveling, busy schedule, running in a parking lot, right? She found a way to do it. And also not caring what people think. Right? If you care what people think, you're going to have a difficult time becoming successful. And you got to overcome that and be that leader, because it doesn't matter if it's network marketing or later on doing something else. There's always going to be someone that doesn't agree what you have or going to reject you. You got to think, hey, this is your life. You got to do what you need to do, not live the life of other people. And Melissa, she I love that, running in the airport terminal just so she can stay consistent. And that's why she is where she is. If you feel like, I can't be the type of person to do that, well, that's why you're stuck, right? I always talk about don't just copy what people do, copy how they think. And another thing she shared was, it's not necessarily the words you say, but it's how you say it, your belief, your conviction, how you do that. Those are my main feedback. I can go on and on, but it's who you are. And if you see her, you can do something small consistently, then you can do something a little bigger consistently. Right? Some of you mean I can't prospect every day consistently. Then start something small, start something easier, but do it every single day. It's called habit stacking, building a better you. You got to be patient in the process to grow you. And as you grow, everything else will become a lot easier. Hey, thank you for listening. I'm Simon Chan. I'm loud and proud to be part of this amazing profession. Now it's over to you. Make sure you take action on something you learned, and also go follow Melissa. Go to mlnation.com. The links to our profile are right there. And also make sure you subscribe, leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, wherever it's easiest for you. Please do that. It will really mean a lot. I read all the reviews. So anyway, thank you so much. Be blessed and have a safe, awesome holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And go out there and have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless. See you on the next episode.